Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching. Welcome to another episode of Cherry and Timber Talk. And guess what? Today is the grand finale at CricWit, and we have the same theme and the same topic to discuss in our episode right now. We're going to talk about some amazing finals that we have witnessed in our lifetimes as well as before. And we have a special guest, Siddharth. Siddharth Gulati joins us from New
Hi,
Delhi.
hi
Hi,
everyone.
Siddharth.
Hi,
Cool,
Siddharth.
cool. So, as you know, Siddharth has also been a participant with us at CricWit, and he was one of the semi-finalists. So, Siddharth, sorry about not being able to make the finals, but you can always
All
talk
good.
about some of the amazing finals that you have seen. And why don't we start with you today?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. I think it's a pleasure. It's an honor, obviously. So I'll talk about the 2008 CB Series final in Brisbane. It was the tri series between India, Australia, and Sri Lanka, and India and Australia managed to play those best of three finals, which India won 2-0. I think there are a couple of things that, apart from Sachin Tendulkar's 90 odd and Praveen Kumar bagging the man of the match award for his 4-wicket haul, there were a couple of things that I really found that were pretty striking in India's win there. So first of all, it was MS Dhoni's some of his decisions that actually proved to be very crucial in India's victorious campaign there. I think first of all, it was having Robin Uthappa opening ahead of Virender Sehwag with the Sachin Tendulkar, because in those two, Virender Sehwag he didn't have a good ODI campaign there. He scored around 80 odd runs in 5 games, and the idea to have Uthappa alongside Sachin Tendulkar in the opening slot, I think it somehow proved good to be India, because in the first game, in the first final in Sydney, they did put on a 50-run stand, but in the second game, the 94-run stand in those 20 overs did give India a good launch pad to get a decent score,
Yeah.
and to have to make such a big decision, to leave out someone like Virender Sehwag, who a big player, a champion player, and still I would say he was not in good form. Yes, there would have been captains like maybe Saurav Ganguly who would have backed Virender Sehwag to play that game,
Yeah.
but somehow I think MS Dhoni, we all know him for his, uncanny decisions.
Yes.
He backed Uthappa, and somehow it proved to be, it did prove to be good for India.
Yes.
Then second, I think too, it was during India's campaign, there were some matches in which India played four bowlers, and there were some matches in which India played with five genuine bowlers.
Correct.
And there were also some games in which India played with four seamers, in which you had Srishant, Ishant Sharma, Munaf Patel, and I think Irfan Pathan. So while Ishant Sharma, he got injured after the first final in Sydney, he suffered a finger injury.
Yep.
So Dhoni did have an option of going in, let's say maybe with an extra pacer
Yes.
ahead of Ishant Sharma, but sticking with Piyush Chawla, he actually he didn't pick up any wickets in those two finals, but he did prove to be very useful. In the first final in Sydney, he gave away just 33 runs, was very useful, and in the second final also he gave away just 45 runs, no wickets. But yes, I would say he was the one who took that final catch of James Hopes of Irfan Pathan, which actually did it for India, which sealed the deal for India.
Yes.
So to have him ahead of let's say someone like Munaf Patel, who had already played a couple of games in the Tri Series, but he didn't get to feature. So once again, it was I would say it was another masterstroke, because to have a wrist spinner who actually controlled, I would say, the pace of the innings, he didn't allow the Australian batsman to go for the big shots.
Correct.
And just bowled well. He actually complemented Harbhajan Singh well, who did bowl outstandingly well in both the games. So it was another masterstroke. Then I think this third thing that, according to me, I feel that was very important in India's victory in Brisbane was Srishant's spell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at a stage when Australia, I think they were chasing around 260, they were 123 odd for 5. So it was James Hopes and Michael Hussey who got a partnership going of around 75, 76 odd, and then it was Srishant only who came in and got the wicket of Michael Hussey, and that somehow opened the doors for India. That they somehow thought that yes, we can probably win it from here. Of course, India were in a good position when Australia were 5 down, but somehow that actually would have made India believe that yes, this could be their game.
Yeah.
And then Srishant again got the wicket of Mitchell Johnson,
Yes.
His spell of 9 overs for 40 odd or 2 wickets, I think it's something that, according to me, is pretty underrated because had he not got that wicket of Michael Hussey,
Yep.
I would say that it would have been tough for India, or let's say we would have seen another final in
Yeah.
Adelaide. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that above anything, everything and anything, I think it was MS Dhoni's couple of decisions,
Yeah.
brave decisions, some bold decisions that actually helped India. I
Hmm.
would say they proved to be very, very crucial and useful in
Yes.
India's victory there, maiden victory in Australia down under.
Interesting, right? How Srisanth has been on the
Yeah.
forefront of so many key games for India. We spoke about the semi-finals last week, the World
Yes,
T20 semi-finals, 4 for 12. We spoke about the finals catch that he took, right, in the 2007 World Cup, and this spell as well, right? So he's always been there in big games, and he's held his nerve. And I think one more point, if I may add, Siddharth, I
yeah,
think I distinctly remember this was 2008, and
yeah,
the World Cup of 2011 was about 3 years, down the line.
Yeah.
And
yes,
Dhoni made a very, very interesting statement that, and obviously this was a time when he was backing all the youngsters to come into the squad. And,
yes,
Saurav, Rahul Dravid, and, all these greats were kind of going out of one day cricket at that point in time. And he
yes,
made a very interesting comment that, by 2011, when the World Cup arrives, I want
yes.
all these players to play at least 70 to 80 one day internationals for India.
Yes, yes, yes.
And,
कम से कम 100 मैचों का तजुर्बा होना चाहिए. I read
exactly.
the same statement in a Hindi newspaper. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So that shows that how he did his planning and what kind of visionary he was. And it's not just hunch or it's not just based on whatever he thinks that this is the decision I want to make. He also used to
Absolutely.
plan. And it's not evident in his decision making skill that all the planning that goes behind, but he's a very smart man. He knows what he wants and how to execute
Yes.
things.
Yes, I
Correct.
think today only RP Singh talked about the fact that how MS Dhoni plotted Kamran Akmal's dismissal in the 2007 World T20 final. He actually told, I think RP Singh gave a statement today that Dhoni actually predicted that this guy is going to get bowled, and it actually happened that RP Singh got one to swing in and
Yeah.
was clean bowled. So yeah, I think somehow Dhoni he has been one of the best things that has ever happened to this to Indian cricket team,
Yep.
because I would say that we may never find him, we may never find someone like him again. But at
Hmm.
the very same time, I think if we can now have MS Dhoni in some coaching capacity, whether it is being a team mentor or something, I think
Hmm.
it's going to help all the youngsters who are coming in. Be it Prithvi Shaw, Rishabh Pant, for
Yep.
that matter, you have a Sanju Samson and even KL Rahul also, who is
Yes.
also tipped to be a future India captain in limited overs specifically. So yeah, MS Dhoni's presence earlier was very essential, and
Hmm.
now I think it's going to be more essential if somehow BCCI and Dhoni can strike a deal.
Agreed. One more thing which I also remember is Ricky Ponting famously mentioning that I don't think we'll need a third final, and MS Dhoni proved him right.
Ricky Ponting has been in news recently, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking
You know
about
what?
spirit of
Okay.
cricket or something like that. Was
Okay,
it?
let me make this announcement, guys, and everybody. Next week we're going to talk about mankading in our show, and this is going to be a huge discussion, a big topic. So let's do it next week, guys.
Venu, don't use the word mankading. That's an
Okay.
insult to Vinu Mankad. Okay.
Okay.
You're
Next
going to
week we're
say
going to
run
talk
out.
about runouts. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
talk about run out. That's not
See,
mankading.
Mahesh is wearing those that antique T-shirt today, so he's gonna back up all the former players. So he won't
Correct. We're going to
actually
fight.
think against any of the former greats today.
Okay, since Mahesh is in retro mode today, why don't we go to him next and talk about the retros 2007 finals of India and
You
Pakistan.
2007 and retro doesn't fit in the
Don't
same
go.
sentence, but
If you look
good
at
luck.
it in hindsight, guys, it's still almost 14
It's
years.
still almost 13 years back. So I
Yeah,
think it
right.
still holds good,
It's
right?
still
Venu?
retro. Yogesh, you're getting old.
So
Okay,
India
Mahesh.
versus Pakistan T20 finals at Joburg couldn't have got bigger, couldn't have got better.
Yeah,
And India won the toss and decided to bat first.
yeah,
And we put up a reasonably good score. We scored 157 for 5 on the back of a brilliant 75 by Gautam Gambhir and a very encouraging 30 by Rohit Sharma.
Shyamba. Yep.
So we won't talk too much about it. India were able to score 150 because the action all took place in the second half.
Yep.
In the 16th over, Pakistan were 104 for 7. And in those days, to get 50 odd runs in 4 overs was going to be extremely difficult because T20 cricket was not actually the way it is being played today. People didn't know how to play T20 cricket.
Exactly.
That was the first major tournament. I remember the seniors did not even go to play the T20 World Cup, thinking that, let's go and let's give the kids to go and play. So that was the kind of importance that was given to T20 cricket in those days.
Yes.
So the last 4 overs, Pakistan required 54 runs to win. And it did look like with 3 wickets in hand, it did look like that India would be able to pull it off very easily.
Yes.
But the 17th over, which Harbhajan Singh bowled, turned the game on its head. 3 sixes by Misbah and a wide made it 19 runs in that over. And suddenly, the asking rate just dropped. So from 54 runs, it really came down to 35. The next over was bowled by Srisan, and he gave away 15 runs. So suddenly, India were looking really, really, in a tight situation.
Yep.
Nobody talks about RP Singh. I just heard speaking about RP Singh. He was in great form in that
throughout the
period
tournament,
of time, especially the 2007, 2008. He was a go-to man for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And Dhoni gave him the second last over, which we still believe that the second last over is the most important over because it gives a lot of pressure to the team that's back that's chasing, and it gives the bowler a little more of cushion. And RP Singh bowled a beautiful over. But one thing what Srisan did well was in his very last ball, he got the wicket of Sohail Tanvir. So when Umar Gul came to bat, RP Singh was able to bowl a very tight over and he got rid of Umar Gul as well. So 19 overs were gone. Last over, they needed 12 runs to win. And the most important thing was that they had 1 wicket in hand. India just needed 1 wicket in hand. Unfortunately for India, Misbah was on strike. And Misbah was playing like a king. So now the situation was that Dhoni had 2 bowlers who could go and bowl the last over. One was his experienced off spinner in Harbhajan Singh. And the second was a rookie. That was Joginder Sharma. Now, see, the importance of confidence is so well displayed out here that an experienced bowler like Harbhajan Singh might not have shown the keenness to bowl the last over probably. And somewhere in their body language, probably Dhoni must have felt that this guy, if he's not confident, he's going to bowl 2 bad balls and that's the end of the game. Because it required just 2 hits. And the ground, as we know, at Joburg is not too big. So,
and the ball travels really fast there.
And ball travels very fast.
Altitude.
Correct. And Misbah was batting brilliantly. So what does he do? He goes to a bowler by the name of Joginder Sharma, who we all know, has hardly played any great form of cricket. But see, the thing is that Misbah actually got the pressure onto him. He hit a 6. In fact, he hit a 6. There was a wide ball bowled. So everything was going Pakistan's way. All that he had to hit was probably along the ground, a boundary, and it was all over.
Exactly.
But trying to play a cheeky shot, he must be ruining the fact even today that why did he go? There was no pace in that ball. If you see, the ball was way outside the off stump. It was over pitched. And more importantly, there was no pace in that ball. That he tried to scoop it, and the ball went up in the end. The rest, as we know, Srisan picked up a catch, which even today when I see, I feel that he's going to drop the catch. I don't know why, but I think he might. Srisan, you're not very sure what he's going
It did not sit well in his hand, trust me. He juggled
No way. Because I still remember watching the match live and I said, oh God, this guy's dropped it.
My first reaction was it's going above his head and it's going to go for 4 or 6.
Correct.
That was my first reaction.
That was the initial thing that we all felt.
But
I think he felt. So there, like what Sid also said is that Dhoni's captaincy was the first time you actually saw Dhoni pulling out something from the ordinary. And like what he said, Sehwag did not play the finals. Now, it says that Sehwag was injured, but there is another theory that says that Sehwag was told that, boss, you didn't do well in the game leading up to the finals, so you take a break. And he got somebody like I think he got Yusuf Pathan to play the finals. And Yusuf Pathan, I remember hitting Mohammad Asif for a 6 straight away. I think first and second ball, he was in a tearing hurry to score a lot of runs. But whatever it is, Dhoni's captaincy's first display was in the 2007 World Cup finals. 4 years later, we know what he did in the 2011 World Cup finals at 114 for 3, the match on the balance.
Yep.
Virat Kohli just out, he walks in. He did not have a good series. I mean, did not have a good World Cup right through. And Yuvraj, who was having the best World Cup so far, was scheduled to come in next. But he told Yuvraj to wait, and he walked out. And we all know what he did. He played a special innings. Given the big stage, Dhoni really performs. So these are two matches where Dhoni actually won with his captaincy, and the other both with his captaincy as well as with his batting. Took India to victory, and there were two World Cup finals. Big match, big player.
And you know what, Mahesh, you mentioned about the wide that Jogendra Sharma bowled. What I loved was Dhoni's reaction after that.
Calm, cool.
Just collected the ball and just jogged over to him. Oh, nothing happened, man. It's okay. That's fine, right? So,
and to add to that, Jogendra Sharma, he bowled outside off stump consistently throughout that final.
Exactly.
Consistently.
I think Jogendra Sharma did not have the kind of pressure because there was no baggage. Whereas this guy would have bowled, if Harbhajan would have bowled, he would have kept remembering about the 17th over.
Yes.
And that means he would never have been able to bowl well. So I think it was a master move by Dhoni. And India won the finals.
Absolutely.
Everything about Dhoni sounds so good now.
Man with the Midas touch. Yep.
But so Mahesh, you're speaking about great matches and great players. So shall I continue on that vein then?
Sure.
Please go ahead.
Spoken about Pakistan, India. So I'm going to pick up Pakistan. Great man, great match, great player, and I'm going to talk about our dear friend Mr. Imran Khan in 1992 World Cup, and how masterfully he helped Pakistan win that final. And so, before all of that, the main question I have is, how did Pakistan reach the finals in the first place of that World Cup is a bit of a miracle. But
they reached in Pakistan ways. I will
in the way only Pakistan can. How do they contrive to get where they probably Pakistan only knows. Maybe Inzamam Ulak knew a little bit of that because he had a massive role to play in the semi-finals to win against New Zealand.
Yeah.
So entering into that 1992 final, right? Imran Khan's probably the last appearance as captain for Pakistan in a big World Cup. Javed Miandad playing into his fifth World Cup as such, and Pakistan hadn't won the World Cup so far. India had done it in 1983, so Pakistan had all the reasons to believe they could ultimately, if they could reach the finals from a absolutely no-win position, they had all the reasons to hope and believe. But then they were pitted against England, and how well had England played that entire 1992 World Cup as such, right? And they were a great mix of experienced players as well as youthful combination, and they were looking like such a stable side. And when
Yogesh, wasn't the match the league match that England got Pakistan out for 74?
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing from that kind of a position to come in and then turn around the tide and to reach the finals. And once they reach the finals, it sort of stoked the belief that if we can get here, why can't we win as well?
Right.
And so when Pakistan went into bat, right, England had started very, very what can I say, in a very tight manner. And the spell that Derek Pringle bowled that day is one of the best spells of spin bowling you ever see on the Australian soil. He returned with 3 for 20 odd runs. He was very well supported by Chris Lewis from the other end as well. Yes. But what Pakistan did that day, a couple of wickets down, and who walks in? And we speak a lot about Dhoni coming into bat at number 4 in 2011 World Cup. And nobody, I think, was in their right minds expecting Imran Khan to come in and bat at number 3. Imran Khan was a good all-rounder, but not somebody we would probably imagine taking on the number 3 role, because he knew this is the big match, and if you don't perform in the big match as such, who would? And then, he had a lot of youngsters coming into play later after him, likes of Inzamam ul Haq, likes of Ijaz Ahmed as well was playing. And he probably thought that Wasim Akram, he probably thought that, the bulk of the work would be done between him and Aqib Javed, between Javed Miandad and him. They will not see eye to eye, but when it comes to big finals like that, and when the objective is the same, I think, both senior pros understood the job that was at hand. And they kind of, put the anchor down and kept batting on and on and on until Imran Khan had gone on to score 72 most crucial runs.
Mm.
Javed Miandad had scored his 58. And
Yep.
then, when they got out, they pushed Pakistan to a respectable sort of a, we're pushing Pakistan to a respectable total. Now,
Yep.
with all the great bowling England were able to manage, Pakistan still hadn't broken through.
Yep.
And so then Inzamam ul Haq and Wasim Akram actually, that youthful exuberance, as you may, they
Yes.
actually shred English bowlers to pieces because remember, English bowling was also slightly on the older legs, with Pringle and all of these people. So they
Yes.
were able to get quite a few runs towards the last 10 overs. I think
Wasn't
they
there,
scored.
wasn't it a little one-dimensional? Their entire bowling attack was all those
Yep.
It was,
WW
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
bowlers.
Dibbly dobbly seam bowlers who were very disciplined. They knew their channels to bowl and the areas to bowl. So when you have somebody like Inzamam ul Haq coming in and carting for four boundaries in no time, it kind
Mm.
of threw them off gear.
Correct.
And they weren't the kind of bowlers who would bowl slower ones or they would bowl those pinpoint Yorkers as such. All of that modern day invention aside, so they kept doing what they knew the best. And then people like Dermot Reeves, etc. They went for runs,
Yep.
and so Pakistan, reached 250 runs. Now, 250
Right.
was a good total in those days. It was respectable considering Pakistan is such a good bowling side. And so, when Pakistan came into bowl as such, they always had a chance now. They had a hope to work with. And that was thanks to, the heroics of Imran Khan with the bat. Who would have thought? But Pakistan were also a bowler short. Now, Imran Khan, as good all rounder as he wasn't quite the force now to reckon with. So,
Right.
he actually came in really towards the end to bowl because he
Mm.
knew that his
Yep.
bowling wasn't going to quite cut it for the team. So, it was now left up to Wasim Akram to, carry the burden on his shoulders. Who
Mm.
does he partner with in that match? He partners with Akif Javed, another, youthful fast bowler. Now, some of us Indians don't need to be reminded of him because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
really, used to up his game against us. And Akif Javed was also one of, he bowled spell of his life for somebody walking into the finals, taking
Yep.
the place of Waqar Yunis, who was injured on the day.
Yep.
I think under Imran Khan, he probably was inspired to bowl that spell. And
Yep.
much before I'll talk about the legend of Wasim Akram, was the ball that should have been spoken a lot more. And it was the googly that Mushi bowled to
Mushi.
Graham Hick,
Yep. Yes.
hitting him on the pads. So after beating him a few times
Mm.
with classical leg spin, Mushi pitched one up. And
Yeah.
sort of like that leg spin which kicks, that googly which kicks after pitching and
Yep.
is bowled full. Graham Hick had no answer whatsoever to that one, and Pakistan, sort of had got three English wickets, and once they got Graham Gooch out, it was game that was coming their way until Neil Fairbrother and Alan Lamb came together and started, stitching those important runs together and bringing England back into the game. So now it was again going to be an even contest. So whom does Imran Khan now turn to? He went up to the bowler he was trusting to do the job, and that ball by Wasim Akram gets spoken a lot to Alan Lamb.
Alan
The
Lamb
ball that he bowled, yeah, around the
around
wicket,
the
and then
wicket.
brought the ball to tail in towards the off stump, and just as it pitched on the off stump, just moved that slightly and took that off stump bell. And he pegged England back with that, and you
Yep.
thought that okay, now Pakistan is coming back into this. But what really made him look like a legend was the next one that he bowled. And this ball bowled to Chris
Chris
Lewis
Lewis. Yeah.
started way outside of the off stump. And Chris Lewis, if he was playing a test match, he would have probably shouldered his arms to that one. But
Yes.
after tagging back from that slightly 3/4 kind of a length, the ball kept sailing in, got the inside edge of Chris Lewis's bat, and then
Yep.
parted into stumps. And Pakistan were now
And at
well and
great pace
truly,
as well. At great pace
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
That ball, right?
Great pace
So
as well. So
yep.
that match actually showed you four really good spells of fast bowling.
Yep.
So two came from England and two came from Pakistan. And you know what the difference was? That you can bowl great swing bowling, right? But the great swing bowling could contain runs for you. But you
Yep.
can only win matches when you know how to control the swing to get wickets. And
Wickets.
that was one man who could do it, and that was Wasim Akram. When the team really needed it, he knew how to use the reverse swing, how much to swing the ball so you get the wicket. Otherwise, you had Pringle who bowled really, really well, but didn't quite win, quite end up on the winning side. So that was the heroic of Wasim Akram, the legend that he was, and the legend only grew over the
Mm.
years. And obviously, Imran Khan got the fitting farewell that he deserved. and his
Absolutely.
dream of cancer hospital,
Yes.
was to go towards realization thanks to that amazing win. And he sort of, galvanized that entire team to believe. And I think, great final thanks to the
Yes.
great leader.
Yes. Agree.
So just before he bowled to Chris Lewis, Wasim Akram
Yeah,
has gone on record and said that after every ball Imran would tell them what to bowl, like what Dhoni does to our spinners.
yeah,
That's what Imran's role was. So he told Imran, "Can I bowl the same ball that I bowled to Alan Lamb, the ball that comes in and then straightens and knocks off stump?"
yeah,
Imran said, "No, he's waiting for that." So he said, "Can I bowl
yeah,
a Yorker?" He said, "No, that also he'll be waiting for that." So he said, "Then what do I bowl?" He said, "Bowl a good length ball, but get it in. He will not be
yeah,
waiting for that." And
Wow.
he bowled
yeah,
exactly that and he got the wicket. So Imran was able to actually read the mind of the batsman. Imran has also gone on record and said that when he goes for a toss, he looks at the eyes of the opponent captain. And if he sees fear in the opponents, that's when he goes for the kill.
yeah. So
Hmm.
now, interesting piece of trivia for me to end that match story on, right? So when Imran Khan was batting, right, and he wanted to slog towards the end, he was caught on the boundary. The catcher was Illingworth, right?
Hmm.
And when the match ended, it was Illingworth who was on strike, and bowler was Imran Khan,
Imran Khan.
and was caught by
Caught by
Ramiz
Ramiz
Raja.
Raja.
Ramiz Raja.
Caught by
Yeah.
Ramiz Raja. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yep.
Okay, Venu,
On
what's
a
coming
lighter
your way?
note, you know what, Yogesh, you mentioned about I don't know how Pakistan reached the final. On a lighter note, I just loved last year's World Cup comparisons with 1992. That
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hilarious. After every game that Pakistan lost, some fan used to quote, in 1992 this happened.
Don't worry, we are getting there.
Oh
But
God, that was
But
hilarious.
we won World Cup. Pakistan has World Cup, won the World Cup. But my object of envy is the World Cup that Pakistan won in 1992. What a beautiful trophy that was!
Oh yeah,
And
it was beautiful. Yeah.
do you know the story of the presentation? So
Yep.
Sir Colin Cowdrey was the man doing the presentations. And so when Imran Khan came on the stage to receive the trophy, he actually told Imran, "Be careful. That's a crystal trophy. You don't want to drop that."
Interesting, interesting.
Okay,
Beautiful,
Venu, what's
beautiful.
yours?
So I'm not going to talk about a World Cup here, but I want to talk about a game that was, kind of livened up my childhood. 1998 Independence Cup, India versus
Yeah,
Pakistan once again. And those were the days, when India-Pakistan rivalry was at the top notch, best
peak.
in terms of, the
Absolutely.
90s was something else, man. Because nowadays, we hardly play them. India and Pakistan hardly play cricket. But those days, it was like, Pakistan had a slight edge over India, if I could say so. But
Yeah.
yeah, in crucial games, India actually had an edge over Pakistan. For example, World Cup games or finals like these, that's when India used to come out trumps. So this game was amazing because not many people know this, but this was actually a world record chase. 314 was a target, and the first time any team chased such a high target in an ODI game. So this was
Yeah,
actually a world record chase at that point in time.
yeah, yeah, it was.
So and again in a final, in a big final. And the best part was obviously when I start off the game, it was once again Saeed Anwar who used to have Indian bowling for breakfast and dinner.
Yeah.
So that's how the game used to go those days. Saeed
He had
Anwar
a
coming
love
in.
affair with our
Oh
bowlers.
yeah, I mean it was like if he's getting bored today, मैं क्या करूँ यार चलो यार थोड़े run बनाता हूँ India के साथ. It was like that. So you could not get that man out when you're India. So that guy and Sanat Jayasuriya, these were the two left-handers who tormented India like anything in the 90s. And then, Ijaz Ahmed also getting 100 in that game. So the bowling was very, very ordinary. Srinath going for 61, which was very rare because he also always used to be a bowler who used to be, keeping it tight, even if he didn't get wickets. Harvinder Singh going for 74 runs in 10 overs, although he
Mm,
got 3 wickets. Uh, and again, Rishikesh Kanitkar also did not have a great day with the ball. I think 6 overs, 36 or something he gave away.
yeah,
So in those days, these were too many runs, in an ODI game. In our batting, what was important was the great 71-run opening stand with Sachin and Saurav. But Sachin got out against run of play, got out for 41. And that's when there was a master stroke in sending Robin Singh at number 3. So, this was something which was not expected, again, in a final. And two left-handers batting, Saurav and Robin Singh, had a great partnership, took India to 250. And from there, that was game on. But then we had a bit of a middle order collapse. Azharuddin, Jadeja, Mongia, all these guys got out in a jiffy. Sidhu as well. Sidhu used to bat in the middle order those days. And it was left on to Rishikesh Kanitkar, a kind of a newbie, and Javagal Srinath in the last over. 9 runs to get of the last over, and Saklain Mushtaq bowling. He
The
was
most
bowling
difficult bowler to play.
extremely difficult. And what was unique about this game was it wasn't a day-night contest. It was a day game.
Yeah.
But in the Bangabandhu National Stadium in Dhaka, that those days the lights were not, the proper floodlights that we used to have for cricket. It was probably a football stadium, and the lights were very, very, what do you say? It wasn't of the best quality for a cricket game, and it was pitch dark, and we could not see anything. The fielders could not see the ball, leave alone the batsmen. So that was the kind of environment the game was set up in. But they continued the game because they wanted to finish off the game. It was an important final. So in whatever light conditions, they played it out. And Saklain was bowling. Srinath, first ball, Kanitkar was on strike. He got a single of the first ball. And we needed 8 of the last 5 balls then. And there were 2 important slogs in the history of Srinath's career. And Saklain was continuously bowling dusras. And with the fading light, it's impossible to see what's coming out of the hand. So he just, slogged his, thing. Unfortunately, instead of going over cow corner, one went over backward point. He got 2 important runs.
It didn't matter.
Sorry?
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter, right? Yeah, he got 2 runs. So the next one was very, it was comical and hilarious because the way he slogged it, again, he was trying over cow corner, but the ball went really high in the air and it went and fell down in no man's land between deep mid wicket, long on, and the bowler Saklain, all three of them converging and running towards the ball and just them. That was hilarious because
teasing.
Exactly. And again he got 2 runs. But
I object to this. I object to this because if you think Saklain could bowl a dusra on demand, I think those shots by Srinath were well planned. I mean, it's you who think that he slogged it and it went the other direction. Yeah. Maybe Srinath had it all planned. Maybe that's how he wanted to play them.
You would have seen him knocking the leading edge of the bat before coming in. So I think what he did after that was really, really good because, I think given the slogs, that he did in the previous 2 balls, what he did after that was really important because he knew that he's got 4 important runs and he had to give it on to the batsman who was at the other end, which is Rishikesh Kanitkar, the proper batsman. So the next ball, he just dabbed it to, short third man and he just ran the single, the most important single. And then it was 3 of 2 balls. That was game on. It was anybody's game because, had that been a dot ball, imagine getting 3 of the last ball in that pitch dark scenario.
It would have been very tough, yeah.
It would have been really tough. And again, I don't know whether Rishikesh Kanitkar really had it planned out or, whether it was something which happened out of luck, sheer luck or something that he connected it, but it was amazing.
It connected perfectly well.
Perfectly well, right? So again, you needed a bit of luck, right? Because in that scenario, it's very hard to understand what's coming out of the hand. I think he knew that he had to slog it over mid-wicket, and that's what he did, and he connected well, and that's what kind of mattered in the end, and it was a phenomenal win for India. And the best part was the dressing room, going bonkers and the way people were dancing. Sidhu was doing his bhangra. So, it was an image which was etched in my mind and, a final to remember for sure. Because, we were hooked onto the television the entire day, especially the second innings. Did not miss a ball. So that was phenomenal. And a true India-Pakistan contest, if I could say so. I mean, just defined the way the 2 teams played their cricket, right? So amazing. Interestingly, Rashid Latif was the captain in that game. So that's another interesting trivia, right? So, Wasim did not play, Waqar did not play. Saklain was there, Azhar Mahmood was there. But Rashid Latif was the captain in that game. So interesting. Another list of captains for Pakistan.
They have a long list of captains.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about the end of the show now. I think we'll move on to the all-important grand finale with CricWit. I think our 3 participants are waiting. I love the way Mahesh mentioned about what's in store for today. Vignesh being Australia, Niharika being India. And the best part was Anuj being Pakistan, the unpredictable element. So let's see how it pans out today. I'm really, really excited.
It's going to be a super final. I'm sure it's going to be a
obviously exciting for people who are watching. I'm not so sure about the 3 people who are playing, knowing what Nishad might dish. I'm just going to message Nisha to say, be gentle.
Let me tell you, the
I don't
questions
think
are
it's
going
going
to
to
be
be gentle.
extremely tough.
Yeah, it's a final, and I really don't think that Nishad is going to be that easy to crack his questions.
Okay, let's see
It's
what
going to
comes
be
out of
fun.
his hand today. Whether it's going to be a Yorker, a bouncer, or a Dusra, or a Googly, or a mix of everything. Let's see what's in store. Thank you, Siddharth. Thanks a lot for joining us
Thank you.
today.
Thank
We
you very
enjoyed
much,
having you.
everybody.
Thanks, Mahesh
Thank
and
you.
Yogesh. Let's see
Yeah.
you at the other side of the break in about 10 minutes time.
Yes. See you.
Okay.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.